Okay, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just see. Yes, we are streaming. How you doing? Cynthia Harrison here from Rhombus Healing Arts, Spirit Whisperer. What else? Holistic Mystic on demand. And all right. Just want to get this up so I can see if you come on and comment. Can see what's going on. All righty. Today in the Holistic Mystic, we are going to go into a little bit more of the fears and the fearings and the sounds and what your experiences have been. Before we start, I'm just going to toggle all of these pages and stuff. Let me just get it out of the way. So let me know how you going. Who's watching? Where are you all? What's happening? What's happening? It's really sort of dim and overcast here. It's been raining. So I've got a little color on today in my background, a little color for you. And let me tell you a little story. I'm going to start here and wait for people to come on. Because I love color. Here you will come. He will come. You know I love color. All the colors. I love all the colors. Do you love all the colors? Do you have favorite colors? I've got my crayons here. I love all the tones. I love all the shades. I love them all. Have you ever felt like your life is missing some of its vibrant colors? Mm-hmm. Are you in touch with all your colors? No? I'm looking at you. Yeah, you are. You are. Okay. Okay. Not talking to myself. You know, I see these colors as a way of remembering, right? We're remembering. Each color is like a frequency. Each color is a frequency. Each color is an aspect of ourself. And when possibly we feel like we're missing some vibrancy, or we're missing an aspect of that array, it might be like there's the gap, right, between where you are and where you want to be. Right? Whether it's maybe it's stress, blue for loss, maybe, or joy. Maybe it's overwhelm. Throw that one out. Oh, this one's melted. This one's melted. You may feel melted from that overwhelm or for that burst of heat, whether that's hormonal from stages of life or hormonal due to stress and trauma. Did you know that that impacts your hormones? So young women can have shifts in their hormones that create excess hair growth or breakouts or all sorts of things. Right? I'm talking young women. I used to work with a lot of young women that were extremely traumatized, and how their bodies would be telling them what's going on, and the doctors are saying it's hormonal. Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Do you ever feel like some of these words are almost like a cop-out? It's just your hormones. And I can remember, I recall my mum, as I was growing up, I can recall my mum saying, you know, I went to the doctor and they just say this, that, and they're basically fobbing her off. And as you get older, and I'm talking particularly to all of the women watching, but there could be men as well, right? But I'm remembering, as I say this about the colors, I'm remembering my grandmother's and my mother's story. I rarely go to practitioners, but when I do, I pretty much can say the same thing, especially in certain countries. I'm not going to name any. How the medical system is, and I'm not going into that because I'll get turned off, but how many of you are being told there's nothing wrong with you, and on a level of your soul to spirit, there isn't. You aren't broken. And in that centerpiece of the true self, the external life does not touch, doesn't taint. But on the physical, when there's dysregulation or there's an upset in how your physical system, your nervous system, and the hormones and glandular system is functioning, and you know something's being said that you don't understand, and the bright pink just flew out across the floor. It's actually the color I'm wearing, right? It's like a magenta just flew out as I said that. All right, I'm listening. Magenta wants to be seen, okay? Right? Seriously. Or we're told it's perimenopause, or it's menopause, or it's just your monthly cycle that you have these headaches or these pains or this suffering, or it's women's business. Yes, it is. So are you going to somebody who understands your women's business? We've lost, I can feel it as I'm saying it. We have lost our connection to our community, to our families, to our core wisdom, the wisdom of our mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers. What I'm here talking about, I didn't even plan to talk about this. It's all this just is coming up, right? I'm just letting it come up as it needs to. I was talking about the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's like going home, right? Because your box is empty, or there's a few colors left. Let's see how many, just for humor myself, whoever might be watching. Oh, what colors are left? I didn't plan this. It'll be interesting. We have yellow, we have white, and we have green. Do a reading on that, but I won't. It's like pulling a card, right? We're pulling a crayon. So far, what's left in the box is green, yellow, and white. What does that mean to you? Are you leading with green? Are you leading with white? Are you leading with yellow? Are you leading with lime? Are you leading with I'm trying to think of the hues of greens and yellows, right? Lemon, kiwi, different light greens, or greens with a tinge of yellow, or yellow with a tinge of green. So it's interesting, there were 3 crayons left, because I usually say you lead with 2 or 3 of your colors, your vibrancies. Who speaks for you, who moves for you, who takes action are those prominent aspects of the self, generally the ones that have kept you safe. So thank you for keeping us safe. And we can make the decision to start merging and bringing some of these other vibrants home, even this melted one, even the broken ones, even the ones that you may not adore, because they all have a role. Just like every cell, every organ, they all have roles. Can you live without some of them? Sure. Let's take out magenta. Imagine your world without magenta, without this pink. The Barbie film would be stuffed, wouldn't it? That's another story. All right. Or turquoise. Who loves turquoise? Yes. Look at that vibrancy when I bring out your color. So let's get rid of that. Oh, it dropped out of the basket on the way home. You're saying, put it back in, put it back in. What if you're not even aware that it's gone? What if you're not even aware that it's gone and you feel that this blue is your turquoise? It's possible. It's close. It's a type of blue, or maybe it's I don't have phthalo green here, or phthalo blue, which, are a blue green or a green blue. Will they do? And those of you that are artists or creatives or love colors and understand tone and hue will let you know that if I'm after a phthalo blue, then that vibrancy is what I'm looking for. So yeah, I can make do with this maybe cobalt blue, right? It's not turquoise and it's not phthalo blue. You're hearing me? You're feeling me? So as we grow, our colors, our aspects of self are lost, melted, broken, overused, diminished, taken from us, right? So again, I'm here to tell you that the key to bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be lies in regulating your nervous system, lies in building a relationship to the sensations that these life experiences bring. Yeah? So our bodies hold on to these charges, and they're charges from the past. And that charge may be, let's choose a color. Oh, orange. How convenient. right? Because if I was to ask, what color would that charge be? It might be yellow, orange, orange red, or a warm red, which is almost orange, right? And these charges are connected to our experiences. And when those experiences hold a little more voltage because they've been wired together through the brain, they've been pulled together through how our memories laid down, that healing requires us to lean in, to listen, and to meet the sensation that's in our body, right? Those of you that have been watching for a while, if you've been practicing, do you have questions about what that means? Right? Leaning in. I've helped thousands of people recover from health, physical health and mental health. Right? I know that the regulated nervous system, both energetic and physiological systems, is the foundation for an intuitive body and a healthy mind. So what does that mean? When I'm saying listen, that's your intuition. Listen. Okay. Listen with the ear of the heart. Listen with the colors that you have, even if you feel that you have a limited palette right now. Just remember, you can make many colors from a few. So connecting to those sensations that are through the energetic nervous system into the physiological nervous system, and they give you clues, they give you cues. I did a talk this morning to a group that I didn't know. It was like a speech, right? And I was good. As when I say good, I mean I was listening to what my body was doing, right? And it was about 20 to 30 seconds before it was my turn to go on that I felt the charge through my system. And I was like, yeah, there it is. Do I get scared? Do I have fear? Life is full of fearing. Whatever you feel is felt through your nervous system. And the colors that are left in your crayon box or your palette are the colors that have taken on the role to help you survive, to help you stay alive, to help you navigate the beliefs and conditionings that you've been coded into, yeah? Your experiences, early childhood to now. And there'll be particular patternings and habits that get I was going to say routed, but regrooved. It's like watching water run, maybe from the roof of your house, a drip, drip, drip. And you look where it's dripping, it creates patterns. And if it's long enough, it'll start to move through the earth, creating these grooves. And you can cover those grooves. You can fill in the gaps. When it rains again, it may unfold once more. Or it could create a new habit, a new pattern, depending on how we've shifted the original pattern. Depending on how we've built a relationship with that pattern of behavior. Whether what we've coveted with, or what do you call it, spackle filled, you know, hole filler, when you've got a hole in your wall, tape, cement, what have you used to shift the behavior, to shift the trajectory of that experience? So when we have a charge, even if it's a 30-second little charge of, oh, I'm about to go on, right? I'm about to go on. And because I have a relationship with my fear, my body, my nervous system, my human system, my energetic system, which is part of the human system, I have enough experience of myself to trust I'm okay and not to spin. Does that make sense? You with me? So when you feel something, this just popped into my head, so I'm going to say it because someone may have experienced something more like this. So if you have an argument with somebody, like a really devastating argument where you feel like something is going to shift in your world, your life is potentially going to be different from this conversation or argument or discussion, whatnot. And you're not in a situation where you can do much about it. You may be, or you feel you might not be able to do. You might be at a big department store or a shopping complex, or you might be at your children's school picking them up from school or something like that. You may be in, I don't know, but place yourself wherever. And you have all of this emotion and all of this charge. Can you relate? Is there some, have you, like, just humans are human, a human is a human is a human is a human. This is how it works, right? So how you're able to regulate, because it's a catch-22, right? I'm saying, I know that a regulated nervous system is the foundation for an intuitive body, a healthy mind, right? I do know that. I also know that those that are regulated don't talk about it, don't need to talk about it. You just are. You just are. There's no thing happening. Do you feel it in your body? No. Why? Because it just is. It's happening. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I mean? I'm getting at, if you have to regulate, then you're not regulated. It seems a bit silly to say out loud, but I'm saying it out loud because I'm not going to assume that everyone's understanding what I'm saying, that my meaning making is your meaning making. So something's happened. There's a charge that comes up in the body. You feel it. And you might just feel it like I did this morning, like a little buzzy. Like it's just a little buzz. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there it is. And that was it. Because I'm used to speaking. I'm speaking on here all the time. So it's no big deal, right? But for that one, it was a speech, not just me coming and chatting and doing a teaching, right? It's a different thing. So there was a little charge on that. And what I'm talking about is when you have that charge, whether it's huge or small. So I don't know about any of you, but I've had charge where I've felt like I'm going to throw up. Have any of you been so emotionally distressed that you just feel sick, so sick? It's like your stomach is like, oh. And you just either need to completely break down, which some of you may, or you might feel like you're going to suck it up, because we're told that, suck it up, sunshine, get on with it. Tell your story walking. Harden up, toughen up, be resilient. Oh, don't get me started on that. I use resilient, but it's not my first port of call, because when we feel the charge, when we meet the charge, when we have a relationship with the charge, so just say this is the charge, something's happened. Maybe I'm trying to think of something really, it might be your relationship is you feel like your relationship's coming apart at the seams, and there's been an argument or something like that, or it could be you've just been given a medical diagnosis, like we just talked about that. You're going to the doctors or medical or whatever, and you have symptoms. You're in pain. There's stuff happening. You feel it in your body, the charge. You feel the charge long enough, you will have symptoms. Okay? Whether that's physical symptom, like, skin, you feel like you're going to throw up, or all sorts of things. But it could also be emotional, mental, losing your memory. You feel like you just can't remember things. There's multiple reasons for that. But, that is a sign of stress as well. So you're going there and they're saying there's nothing wrong with you. Go home. So you've just spent hours waiting. You get there, you have to pay for it, and you're told there's nothing wrong. All right, then what? Now what? You're just stuck with that's your life? How many of you, and I know there's a lot, I see it over and over. So a lot of my clients would, come to me when I had my in-person clinic. I always say, go and get it checked out. Go and get it checked out, and then come back and see me if they say there's nothing wrong. And they come back and see me and they say, yep, they said there's nothing wrong. Yep, I had an MRI. I've had this, I've had that. There's nothing wrong. All right, let's investigate this. Bam, there it is. Now go back to your doctor with information and get those tests. Oh, yeah, they found I had a nodule, or they found I had a growth, or they found I had this, that, or the other, without fail, right? The other side is that it's spiritual emergence. And there's a lot of people that do have a lot of aches and pains and distressing symptoms because they're not understanding what's happening with their evolution, their conscious evolution. So again, same thing. I'll never forget, I've told this story a lot because it's so interesting. I met a friend, she's Canadian, but I met her in California. And, we were sharing a house. There was a bunch of us from all over the world sharing a house for about 4 or 5 days. And, I was just sharing mystical ways of knowing. And I had spirit come to me, actually. And that one of those evenings, it was interesting because that house, so this is a slightly digress, but it's a good story. Spirit came like literally in front of me and didn't say anything. but it was this basically information that we needed to leave the house. And I ignored it, right? Went back to sleep because I see spirit all the time. It's like, yeah, that was sparkling. It was a different type. It was very, I know who it was now. And it was one of my, it's one of the teachers of my painting lineage. And we were there to paint and whatnot. The next day, I was like, I can smell smoke, but I couldn't find where it was coming from. And if you know me at all, I smell everything. I see, feel, taste, smell, can touch energy. So I could smell it. And I'm like, I can't see any fire. I can't see any smoke. So carried on. I told a few people, carried on. And it was very early in the morning. And then the next thing you know, there was smoke coming out of the PowerPoints. So we got evacuated in our pajamas in the middle of the big, what are they called, in Sonoma, those big trees. It was in a forest, right? So there's all the fire brigade came and everything. But why am I telling you this? Intuition, listening, the information was there and we push it aside, right? Link it back to what I just said. When you have a physical feeling, expression of charge, very little difference between spirit information, because it comes in through the energetics into the physical, and then you have a physical sensation of the information. Yeah. Same with how you are in the world or the environment, how you put yourself in the environment and how that impacts on your energetics and then creates a manifestation or a symptom, we might call it, or how we think, how we speak, how we are with our fear, with our what scares us, what colors are missing, or maybe we have so much yellow, right? Nothing wrong with any of the colors. But that yellow maybe the frequency of, we can go into that another day, but right, each color has a frequency. Too much or not enough, right, is our trauma. Too much information too fast, or not enough information too slow. Too much or not enough. That's what we're dealing with, right? So too much of one color, not enough of others. So how do we get from where we want, from where we are, or from where we are to where we want? So how are we moving towards a particular outcome in our health, in our wellness, in our spiritual development, in our financial situation, in our relationships, or if in anything else that you want to bring that into our how we are in society? Are we creating meaningful connections? This is what the holistic mystic is about, assisting us to navigate, to be able to discharge charge effectively. So let me go back and fix that, or not fix, but come back around to that circuit that you're out in society because you have limited choice. You always have choice, but it may be limited, right? And there's this charge. You don't want to push it away, But how do you navigate that? Any ideas? Those of you that have been hanging around for a while, you might have some ideas. Am I reading your lips, or are you going to put it in the chat? Well, for one, I've already mentioned it. It's about meeting the sensation. So if you're feeling like you're going to be sick, there's charge. Maybe it hits you in the gut. You know, when you get hit, information just hits you in the gut or the solar plexus. What I mean by lean into meet the sensation is acknowledge it. Okay, like even in your misery, and you can do it. I've taught thousands of people to do this. You can do it. It may feel disruptive or challenging. Notice it and let it pass by. Yeah, well, yes, it's not incorrect. That's not incorrect. So yes, you could notice something and allow it to move through. So yes. And in our, maybe meditations or thoughts, if it was like, I'm talking charge, because I know that some people will watch and go, oh, yeah, you're not talking about, when, this happened or that happened or whatever. You're talking about all la stuff, right? No. I'm talking about when maybe your life, or for a moment, you had a life, you thought your life as you knew it was over, right? So that could be your house burnt down, floods, divorce, kicked out of the country. What else? Illness, terminal illness, or a diagnosis of something. What are your thoughts? My life, maybe it's unconscious, my life from that point is different. And there will be a charge in your system. And the charge is there to move through. But what happens is it gets dulled, right? When I look at particular energies, and I'll say, a particular part of the body, there's some dulling, or I'm very wary of my language. But some people will say entities or darkness or whatever. All it means is that the flow is compromised, right? So if you have charge and then you layer on it more charge of fear for someone, do you see what I mean? It's not necessarily good or bad, it just is. However, if you're not able to navigate the experience in your body, it adds to your pain and suffering. What I'm sharing and what we're going over in Holistic Mystic is, and other programs, is this recognition that meeting the charge or the discomfort or the disease in a particular way discharges it so that it can complete the loop or the action that needed to be carried out in the moment where the charge originated from. Because if, for instance, you have some sort of trauma or high stress, ongoing stress, how you're conditioned up till now will impact how you navigate that. It does. This is why some people will get PTSD and some people won't. Not making it up. It's research. There's a ton of research out there. Why some people get whiplash in minor car accidents. You know, those little bumper, we call them, you know, you hit the bumper bar in the supermarket going like really slow. How people get whiplash from that. Studies on that too. A lot of studies on that too. In a nutshell, and I've talked about this before in other classes, but in a nutshell, they found that those that got whiplash had early childhood traumas. It's held in the body, in particular systems, but particularly the neck. And energetically, we work with the neck and the throat. That's more the neck. How we hold charge in our neck, that's related to certain experiences, right? It's fascinating. I think it's fascinating. I'm not going to keep going on about that, but there's research. Why do some, you know, when I was in the military, talked about PTSD all the time, right? Because a lot of people developed it. Why they didn't pay out, right, was because I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just telling you what they said. I'm not sure what it's like now. Maybe someone can Google it. Maybe I should Google it after this call. Is that it's pre-existing. It's pre-existing. So is the incident that's happening right now what created the PTSD or the complex trauma? Right? Or is it just adding to what was already encoded? And so when something else happens, how you're able to regulate, negotiate, and have a relationship with it is different to the person next to you, because we're all individual. Whereas an individual is your thumbprint or your handprint, your palms. We're all human species, yet there's these subtleties, these tones, the difference between turquoise and blue, or turquoise and ultramarine, or the difference between phthalo green and phthalo blue. There is a difference. I love phthalo blue. Anyway, there is a difference, okay? Do you get where I'm coming from? So the importance of understanding your system, just to that degree. You don't have to be an expert on absolutely everything, although you've had your body your whole life. You've had your system your whole life. If you're not an expert on yourself, then I don't know. I've always said that. You are the expert. I can converse with you, but I'm going to be asking, what are you experiencing? How do you experience that? What are the thoughts, feelings, emotions, imagery that you're having around this? Let's be curious about that. Right? Our bodies hold charge that hasn't had the opportunity to make the full circuit. Means the ends haven't been able to be fulfilled to make that circle or that circuit, that circuitry. And I will never say anyone's broken. It's not a word I use. I'm making a point to say that there's circuitry that may be incomplete, not broken, incomplete. This is why I talk about complete a lot. I use that word, completion. It may be a circuit, it may be a whole experience, it may be an action, a physical action. That's what somatic work is about. Actions that weren't able to fully complete hold a charge. And when all the aspects of the memory are linked in with the action, you're able to complete the story and discharge that voltage for the circuit to be whole. Meaning you will no longer feel that charge in your body the same way. You may still feel it a little, and then you work on it again. Do you see? It's like when you show up and you're nervous, you meet that, where is it? In your chest, in your arms, in your legs, in your solar plexus, in your gut. Do you feel like you have to go to the toilet? You know, do you get a headache? Like, does your chin chatter? Does your eyes flick? Like, you will have micro movements. So if you come into class or you want a one-to-one session, I can track that for you. I can literally take you to the charge and see how you physiologically react so that we can track it together and you will be able to discharge and complete what's incomplete in that circuitry. Because the nervous system has a language, energetically and physiologically. Looking at you, I can tell what your nervous system's doing because there's different behaviors for different arms. Some of them cross over a little, but there's specific behaviors, okay? So when you say, oh, he went from 0 to 1,000 in, you know, there was no pre-ignition. No, there was pre-ignition. We just don't understand it. Because if you understood what that person's micro movements were, if you knew them enough, how their body, and you're going to be looking at everyone now, don't diagnose. Don't tell them to, right? Don't do any of that unless you want more extra charge for nothing, right? Because, you know, you may trigger people. But when you really have intimacy with somebody and you really, when you're speaking to them, you're seeing them so that when they shift, you know something's changed. And you all do it. You all do it every day, whether you're looking at yourself. Some days you'll look in the mirror and you'll feel like, oh, I look 5 years older today, or I look tired, or, you know, my jaw's, you know, a bit more saggier than yesterday, or, oh, it's all tight and my skin looks good, you know, or my hair, or whatever it is, or my hands. How do your hands look? Are you dehydrated? If you pinch your skin a little, how long does it take for the skin to drop back? If it takes a while, go and drink some water. Did you know one of the first tests we do when I used to do kinesiology, we'd tug the hair gently and muscle test, see if the person was dehydrated before we started doing any other work. Why do you think that's so? What would it matter if somebody was dehydrated or not? I mean, there's lots of reasons, but why do you think energetically that would be the case? See, I'm drinking my ginger water. Because water is a conductor of energy. It helps flow. So if I test you in any of those ways, or I just ask, and you're dehydrated, some of the testing could be slightly corrupted because you're not getting clear signal. I don't think I've told you that before, but some of you might know bits of that. Some of you might be practitioners in different things. You need to be, as the practitioner, you need to be hydrated, and your client, patient, guest, student, whatever, needs to. At my clinic, people weren't allowed to leave until they drank either like a herbal tea or water. And I would just, they'd sit there, and I'd make them. I had a beautiful, I still do, but it's in Perth, I had a beautiful Asian teapot. My daughter got me with little tea, like it was all like a tea ceremony thing, or water. Why? Because when you move energy, so you've got to have that water and that flow to start, but also to assist any toxins, anything that's moved, to flush. Conducts. It's a conductor. So how much water have you drunk today? No, I'm not your mother. If you want to go around dehydrated, go for it. But it does help. So, so our bodies hold this charge. We have the capacity to release the charge. It is pretty simple. Sometimes it doesn't feel so good if you go deep, right? It's trauma work. In Holistic Mystic, we just touch into things, and I'm more, I mean, we've gone deep on a lot of things, but if you want the real deep work, the programs Relevate. And if you want the, the surgery, so to speak, right? This is the first aid. And then maybe you just need a bone set or something that would be more like Relevate. You're having some sort of intermediary help there because it's a small group. If you want surgery, that's one-to-one, right? So you've really got a lot going on, or you just don't know where to start, right? Call me, contact me. So we're going to go over to Holistic Mystic in a moment, but just to finish off what we were talking about today is these colors and how you're living your life. And so what I'll do, see how I can do that. It might need to be in a minute. If you are interested in any of those levels of looking at connecting or building a relationship with the charge or the sensation in your body, so whether it's stress or trauma or there's something going on, or your spiritual development, it doesn't matter. The toolbox is vast, right? I'm going to put in a link. I'm going to open up some spaces for some calls, and they're not for free sessions. They're not free session calls. There'll be calls that if something's going on for you and you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, you don't have answers, I can do a consult and maybe touch in to give you an idea of the potential of the programs I do, and I'll let you know if they're not what's right for you, right? So you'll get a sample, but it's more for people that they know what we do. They have an idea of what we do, right? And they're looking for somebody to work with, but they don't know which step to take first, right? So I'm going to put a link for some calls in the chat on social media. But this is really about not letting your fear or the fear of fear hold you back, right? Can't continue to allow that trying to get away from the sensations, trying to make it feel better, because the way to make it go away and integrate so that you can speak from all of those vibrant colors, all of the hues, is to build that relationship. And it's like any relationship, there needs to be some intimacy, some gentleness, some kindness, some understanding, some acknowledgement. And when you do that, what I see for myself, but also for thousands and thousands of people that I've worked with over 30 odd years, is that it dissipates. And the more you refine that, the more your system's able to hold. So if something scares me, if I have a fear of fear or a fear of love, and I acknowledge that, I can start to work with those sensations so that I can continue to move into more love and more fear, which is the human experience, rather than dancing with the fear of fear. And that's all that charge and that build-up. And it's just trying to get you back to the infinity of life, that flow, the infinity of love and fear, which is the polarity of the human experience. So when you get the link, book your call. And this week, I'm pretty busy. I've got to fly. I'll be around. So Thursday, tomorrow, what day is it? Monday. So Wednesday, I won't be here. Tomorrow I'll be here. Thursday. So I'll let you know, because I've got a lot coming up. But just book a call and I'll contact you, and we can arrange if it suits or not. So we're going to go over to Holistic Mystic and see what's going on for you there, and to see how the practices are going since I saw you last. I think it was Thursday. Some of you I saw on Friday. And what questions and what we can refine there. So also, I'll put the link for Holistic Mystic in there too, because for all the replays and all the resources and whatnot, it's $30 a month, which ends up being $2.50 a class. So some of you might want to come into that, and there's a couple of days free trial. So when you go to the link, you'll see it. But after the 2 days, if you want to stay on, you don't have to do anything. We might come on for a day and go, no, this isn't for me, or 2 days, no, this isn't for me. And then you just stop that. You opt out, and it's all good. And if you don't know how, you just send me a message and I'll do it for you. But, I prefer you do it yourself, because I can't always do it for everybody, in time. But, yeah. All right. So I think we'll move over. And I think that's all I wanted to say. Did I leave any loops open on that? I'm trying to scan what loops. Well, if I did, we're going to do it. Oh, amusement parks, bumper cars. Yeah. So we're going to talk more about connecting to that fear in a moment and how to do that. And I'll give you some real life examples, but you could also tell me what's going on for you. So let us move over now. So for those of you on social media, thanks for showing up. And if you're interested in working one-to-one, I usually only take 5 clients for one-to-ones because it's more intensive support. But if you'd like to discuss what that looks like or any of the other programs, yeah, just contact me. And until we meet again, I'll be back tomorrow morning, I believe. And may the blessings be.